Hello and welcome to A Time to Think, Volume 04.08. Why can't Christians be Christians? Or behave as Christians? You know, I think there's two reasons, or two main primary reasons, that Christians seem to have such a hard time behaving and acting like Christians. One is just, I think, ignorance. They don't know what to do. They hear you're a sinner. You have to turn from your sin and turn to God in order to, spend eternity with Him in heaven, etc., etc. And then that's it. They don't know where to go from there. Well, here's some ideas. Here's some thoughts. Well, first read the Bible. I mean, that's pretty basic. That's the primary textbook for, how to behave as a Christian. Particularly looking at, of course, the New Testament. That's not to say the Old Testament isn't valid or worth your time or whatever, but focus a bit on the New Testament, because that tells us about the life of Jesus. And when you're looking at the Gospels, particularly, kind of think about what Jesus is doing. He's going out and he's feeding people that are hungry, and he's telling people how to behave, he's by example, he's showing Christians how they should act. They should go and take care of and love those people outside of themselves. They should be talking and loving and so pattern your life after the life of Christ, because, well, as a Christian, that's who you're supposed to be following. So, read the New Testament, particularly focus again on the Gospels, the first 4 books of the New Testament. That's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, which, are 4 viewpoints to the life of Christ, and read them and just sort of think, what's he doing? What is Jesus doing in this scene or in this verse? What is he telling us? Listen to his words, but also look to his life as an example of how to live your life. Go to church. Go to church. I mean, that's pretty basic. Sure, there are people in church that will rub you the wrong way, or will not be on the path they need to be on, but they're there. Maybe they're trying to get on the right path. Sure, there's some that will just never get it right, and that's just the way life works. You don't turn to God, become a Christian and then suddenly become perfect. That's just not how it works. You are still a human being, but your focus is not yourself and your needs and your wants and your desires anymore, or shouldn't be. Not your primary concern. Your primary concern should be serving God, following, Christ's example. So go to church, read the Bible, pattern your life after the life of Jesus. You see, God became a man, came to the earth as a human, and now, as far as a physical manifestation of the God that created us, that physical manifestation as Jesus is not here anymore. That's not to say the Spirit of God is not here, or that God no longer exists, or whatever. I mean, that's not where we're going here. But Jesus in a physical form is not on the planet anymore. And so humans that choose to follow Christ are then to become that sort of physical manifestation of God, to make the invisible God visible, as the song goes. We are the hands and feet. You've probably heard that said. That's why we're here. We're here to love and continue showing God's love through ourselves, because God isn't here physically to do it himself. So he's not here to feed the poor and to clothe the naked and what have you. So that's what we are to be. That's what Christians are supposed to be. But sometimes they lose sight of that, I think. Sometimes they just don't know how to behave. The other big reason, I think, that Christians have a hard time being, Christian, is that really on a really deep down level, they don't want to be. I mean, not really, really, really. They don't want to go to hell. They don't want to be separated from God for eternity. Excuse me. But they don't really want to turn their life over to God. They want to, drop $1 or 10 or whatever in the collection plate on Sundays, and then go home and go back to their lives doing what they want, when they want, how they want. They're not interested in following. Not really. They just really don't want to burn in hell for eternity, which who can blame them? But I believe the Bible says that faith without works is dead. Well, I think love without works is dead as well. Just to say I love you, that's not the end of it. It has to continue beyond that. It has to go beyond just the words. But like I said, I think there's so many people that pay lip service to it. There's so many people that just say, hey, I'm a Christian. They might go buy the T-shirts. Woohoo! I went to an amusement park and bought T-shirts to say I went to the amusement park. I became a Christian. Jesus rocks, or whatever. Pattern your life after Christ, so that people don't have to see you in a T-shirt to know who you are and what you represent, who you represent. If that's what you want, then, well, do it. Get off your backsides and do it. You see, so many people are like, well, I can't speak in public. I'm so scared. Get over it. I remember seeing once something that was showing the steps to overcome a fear of spiders, for example. You start with, you look at a picture of a spider. Okay, that's not so bad. You get used to that. You do it a few times. Whatever. Then someone brings you a spider in a box and, shows it to you, and you're like, oh. And eventually you can handle it. Maybe. I hope. Well, not particularly, spiders. I mean, I have a tarantula, but, that's not really where I was going. But it's little steps that take you there. It may take a little time. You don't have to jump up first thing and stand up in front of of the entire church, and preach the first time you ever open your mouth in public, or whatever, or ever talk about God. But little things. I mean, dear heavens, there any number of things you can do. You see something on TV that's offensive to Christians. Take the time to write a letter, and keep in mind that you can say what you need to say in a loving and caring and way, and not be screaming and shouting, because people don't respond very well to screaming and shouting. You don't write a letter and say, that friggin' darn program is sickening and I hate it and you are stupid and you're going to hell and blah 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 blah. Just write an intelligently worded, thought out, I found this program offensive, or whatever. I mean, I don't know. It may not be the best example, but something. You can do something if you really want to, and that again is one reason I think Christians, or most of the people not most, many of the people I know that call themselves Christians, don't behave that way, because really, really, really deep down, if they would admit it to themselves and all that, they don't want to do it. They just everybody they know says they're a Christian, the family goes to church, and so they go to church and all that. But things like love and forgiveness, they don't understand in any way. They know judgment, and they know it's like seeing judgment, but then also mercy. They see the judgment part, but they never see the mercy part. It's kind of sad. But anyway, so do you really want to be a Christian? Is that why you seem to have trouble with it? Or do you just want to drop that money in the plate and come home and forget about it all? Watch TV, think about your own life, do your own thing, whatever. Do you really want to be a Christian? Do you want to turn over the control to somebody else? Do you want to follow? Or do you just want to, do what you absolutely have to get by? I think God needs us now. The world needs us now more than ever to come out and speak the truth, to say it. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that time seems to be running out. You can kind of feel it. You can kind of sense it. If you're in tune, I think you can kind of sense it. The world's not going to last thousands of years longer. It won't happen. It's not. So, I want to be prepared.